Starting off this list at our number 10 spot, we have the Witch's Sabbath. The Witch's Sabbath is a concept in Western European folklore that describes a gathering of witches for a demonic and magical ritual. It was the meeting of the witches. It is said that during the Sabbath, witches would engage in act heresy, including devil worship, flesh consumption, and even sexual parties. The event was believed to take place on the night of a full moon, often in remote areas such as mountaintops or crossroads. The concept of the Witch's Sabbath gained popularity during the witch hunt era of the late Middle Ages and the early modern period, with many people accused of witchcraft being accused of attending such gatherings. The idea of the Sabbath was used as evidence of the devil's influence on witches and as a justification for the persecution and execution of those accused. In our number 9 spot today, we have potions. Alright, every time I see like the classic folklore depiction of a witch, I always wonder what it is that they're stirring up in that cauldron. It's bubbling, it's boiling, it's steaming. What is it? A potion, of course. Witches may drink a potion as part of a ritual meant to summon the devil or other supernatural entities. The potion may be made from a variety of ingredients, including herbs, animal parts, or even human blood. The purpose of the potion is often to induce a state of altered consciousness or heightened awareness, allowing the witch to communicate with the otherworldly entities they seek to summon. The ritualistic setting for drinking a potion may vary, but often involves a secluded location. For an occult ritual, we need that eerie setting. The witch may be required to perform certain tasks or complete specific rituals before or after drinking the potion, and the concept of using psychoactive substances as part of a ritual or religious practice is found in various real-world traditions throughout history. However, the summoning of the devil is not a common practice. In our number 8 spot today, we have drawing a pentagram. The pentagram is one of the most recognizable symbols when it comes to all things occult, and drawing a pentagram is a ritualistic act commonly used in magical practices as a way to create a protective barrier or to invoke supernatural forces such as the devil himself. The pentagram is a 5-pointed star, often drawn with a circle around it, and each point represents one of the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. The pentagram is believed to have protective properties, and drawing it is often done as a way to banish negative energy or spirits, but in some magical traditions, the pentagram is also used to invoke spirits or deities, with each point representing a different aspect of the entity being invoked. The ritual of drawing a pentagram may involve specific movements, such as walking around the perimeter of the pentagram while reciting an incantation. More on that later. While the use of the pentagram has been associated with witchcraft and the occult in popular culture, it is also used in various other spiritual and religious practices. In our number 7 spot today, we have lighting candles. Candles are often used to create a certain ambiance, a vibe, to symbolize different aspects of the ritual and to invoke spiritual energy or entities. The use of specific colors of candles is believed to have different meanings and may be chosen based on the purpose of the ritual. For example, green candles may be used to attract wealth or abundance, while white candles may be used to represent purity or to invite divine energy. If you want to summon the devil, would you use red? I don't know. In some traditions, candles may also be used to represent the elements, with different colors representing earth, air, fire, and water. The act of lighting candles can also be a way to focus the mind and create a sacred space for the ritual. And by lighting candles, the practitioner may be able to connect with the inner self or the higher spiritual energies and to bring their intentions into focus. So I guess next time you're smelling candles before you buy them, think of what scent the devil might be. I feel like he has some notes of cinnamon and brimstone coming this fall to a Bath & Body Works near you. In our number 6 spot today, we have incantations. An incantation is a series of words or phrases that are believed to have a certain power or effect, often in a language that is not commonly spoken, like Latin, for example. The recitation of incantations can be a way to focus the mind and to channel spiritual energy, and it is often accompanied by specific movements or gestures. Or I guess in the case of witches, it could sort of act like a magical spell vibe. In some traditions, the incantation may be sung or chanted in a repetitive manner, creating a hypnotic or trance-like state. The purpose of reciting they're just cantations now. The purpose of reciting incantations can vary widely, from attracting love or prosperity to banishing negative energy or entities, or to summon entities. The use of incantations is often based on the belief that words have a certain power or vibration, and that by speaking certain words, the practitioner can tap into this power and create a desired outcome. Sort of like manifesting, but I guess it's like manifesting the devil. In our number 5 spot today, we have sacrifice. Some depictions of witchcraft involve the sacrifice of animals or humans as part of the ritual. This can be done as a way to appease the devil or to gain favor in exchange for the sacrifice. In reality, the vast majority of practitioners of witchcraft do not engage in animal or human sacrifice, and such practices are widely condemned by mainstream spiritual and religious groups, which feels very important to note. But that's not to say it's never happened before at a terrifying occult ritual. In fictional depictions, the sacrifice of animals or humans is often portrayed as a way to offer something of value to the devil or other demonic entities in exchange for power or favors. The sacrifice may be accompanied by other ritualistic elements, such as the other ones that we've spoken about today. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Ouija board. Ouija boards are a popular divination tool that have been used for over a century to communicate with spirits or entities from the other side. The board consists of letters, numbers, and other symbols, and is often used in conjunction with a planchette, a small device that moves across the board to spell out messages. While Ouija boards are not inherently connected to witchcraft, they have been associated with the practice in pop culture. This association may be due in part to the fact that the boards were originally marketed as a parlor game in the late 19th century, but quickly became associated with the spiritualist movement and other alternative belief systems. In popular culture, witches may use Ouija boards as a means of communicating with the devil or other demonic entities, or to gain insight into the future and other spiritual realms. Just remember, at the end of each Ouija board session, it is imperative to close things and properly say goodbye, or else who knows what might be left in our realm. In our number 3 spot today, we have the special objects. Witches may use specific objects or tools as a part of their ritual. These may include things like crystals, herbs, bones, or other items that are believed to have magical properties or specific energies. The witch may also use ritualistic tools such as a wand or a theme to direct energy or focus their intentions. The use of specific objects and tools is meant to create a certain ambiance or to focus the mind, or maybe based on specific traditions or beliefs. Certain demons may have certain objects associated with them that could ease in appeasing them upon summoning, and some other objects might just be used to help assist in the desired outcome. In our number 2 spot today, we have the pact. In fictional depictions of witchcraft, making a pact with the devil is often portrayed as a way for witches to gain supernatural powers or other favors. The pact may involve the witch offering their soul or
pact is more or less not a way
devil
for
in
you to gain
exchange for
powers,
these
but
benefits.
you
The
like
ritualistic
realize
setting
how
for
that's
making a
more
pact
like
with the devil
have.
may vary, but often involves a secluded
That's
location
why
such
they
as a
like
dark
that
forest or
is
abandoned
stupid.
building. The witch may be required to perform certain tasks.
They say seeing is believing, but with Stearns & Foster, that's only part of the story. We handcraft every Stearns & Foster using the finest materials like indulgent memory foam and ultra-conforming IntelliCoils for a beautiful mattress and indescribable comfort every
or complete specific rituals as a part of the pact-making process, which may involve the use of
What's your
special
light
objects
is up?
or
No, yeah.
incantations. The concept of making a pact with a supernatural entity is found in various mythological and folkloric
matter where you're
traditions
from,
throughout history. In
just
reality,
like
however, the vast majority of practitioners of witchcraft do not engage in such practices, and such pacts are not a common element of mainstream spiritual or religious groups. It is definitely not recommended to make a deal with the devil because things are never as good as they may seem at first. There's always a catch with that contract. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have dancing in a circle. In fictional depictions of witchcraft, dancing in a circle is often portrayed as a key element of a ritual meant to summon the devil or other demonic entities. The circle may be drawn on the ground or formed by the witches holding hands, and the dancing may be accompanied by chanting, singing, or the playing of musical instruments. The purpose of the circle dance is often to create a certain energy or atmosphere and to symbolize the unity of the witches in their goal of summoning the devil. The circle may also serve as a protective barrier,
The five
keeping
fingers
the witches
sit in the
safe
face,
from
telling
any
them,
negative
"Smack."
energies or entities that may be summoned. Many believe that using movement and rhythm helps with the purpose of summoning demonic
you go,
entities,
Nick.
and when attempting to summon the ruler of hell himself, you
Sure.
definitely need to bring out all the stops. And at number 8 spot today, we have animal sacrifices. Animal sacrifice is fairly
Smack.
well documented throughout history and has been included included in many different rituals. Ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, and
Ancient
Peru would place an
Mesopotamia.
entire animal on the fire and burn it, or would bury the animal. Ancient Greek religions would see the sacrifice of domestic animals accompanied by hymn and prayers. There would be an entire procession prior to the sacrifice, and the meat of the animal would be prepared for eating. Scythians would usually sacrifice livestock, but the most prestigious offering would be a horse.
Ew.
In our number 7 spot today, we have initiation. Initiation was often part of ancient cults, and while sometimes it was as simple as some fees or contributions, sometimes it took a bit of a darker turn. Part of the initiation into the Eleusinian mysteries was bringing your own victim to sacrifice. After the sacrificial process was finished, the people hoping for initiation would take themselves and their sacrifice.
I think I might sell the gladiator.
It was recorded in 339 BC that during this cleansing part of the ritual, one of the people was actually eaten by a shark. I guess taking a sacrificed animal into the ocean may not have been the best decision in retrospect, but it was necessary to purify them before entry into the cult. In our number 6 spot today, we have blood showers. There's not much known about the cult of Mithras, as it was extremely secretive.
Well, he's eating right now, right?
Cave drawings in the
Because
Mithrian
on the
cave,
phone, there's a
the
class.
drawings depict Mithras, who was known
He's gonna
as the
start
protector
doing
of
his
the
class in the
empire,
morning too.
killing a bull
Nice.
and
Yeah, that's what I
eating
just
his
seen.
son. While their secrets and their practices are fairly unknown, one thing that is
I just
known
posted
is this
stuff.
kind of
On that little
disgusting
phone, you would need to
practice
charge.
they had.
Yeah,
They would
well, you can
sacrifice
take
a
it off then.
bull, but then they would bathe in its blood, which is honestly something straight out of a horror movie. This is also recorded in the cult of Kivali. There was an initiation ritual where they would slaughter a bull and then shower in its blood. In our number 5 spot today, we have the piercing of ears and the cutting of the tongue. This was a popular ritual in ancient Mayan religion. The ear and the tongue blood were the most sacred of all the blood. The ear piercing was done so that they could be opened to be able to hear God's revelations. By cutting their tongues, they then would be able to speak what they had heard. This ritual was conducted so that the words of the gods continued to be passed down and communicated between the people. The ear piercing
bro,
might
so
not
that's
have been that
obvious.
bad, but the tongue cutting just seems super painful. In our number 3 spot today, we have emasculation. This isn't necessarily the best word for it, but there are some words that we just cannot use on this channel. The cult of Kivali was eventually joined by the cult of Attis,
Still
with
don't
the
have
story
to.
saying that Attis was a mortal who rejected Kivali
Oh,
and her
dude.
romantic feelings for him. This led Kivali to punish him with a madness that caused him to cut off his own you-know-what, which led to his death. Kivali then felt bad and pleaded to Zeus, who then resurrected Attis. This is where the ritual was born. During this era, all of the priests of Kivali would publicly emasculate themselves in order to try and be reborn one day.
In our number 10 spot, we have Angel's Landing. In the early 2000s, there was a cult by the name of Angel's Landing, which was also the name of the site the cult would meet in Wichita, Kansas. Lou Castro, also known as Daniel Perez, was the leader of this cult, and his followers were convinced that he was an angel. He had also convinced his followers that he was a seer, aka a fortune teller or a psychic, and he would perform ceremonies where he would predict their future and know when they were going to die. Of course, it's because he himself was going to kill them, but before doing so, he took out life insurance policies on them and then cashed in that money for luxury vehicles and items. Wow. The death prediction would have been a red flag to me, but clearly these people were in a very vulnerable state to believe that. Thankfully, Lou was found guilty for 28 crimes and has been sentenced to life in prison. Hallelujah. In our number 8 spot, we have the Children of God. Also known
Why do you
as
think
Teens
they
for Christ,
that?
it was founded in 1968 by preacher David Berg in California. It attracted the hippies of the day, as this cult preached the words
I know
of
he wasn't
Jesus
like
and the
into, like,
Bible, but with more of an open twist to the free love movement of the time. There were horrible ritual acts, such as the one that was called flirty fishing, where women would perform acts of giving themselves in different inappropriate ways to get men into the cult. Mainly everyone in the cult didn't work, and there were about 15,000 members around the world. Allegedly, actors Joaquin Phoenix and Rose McGowan grew up in Children of God communes. Pretty wild. In our number 4 spot, we have the Manson cult.
At least you know you are.
Manson is probably one of the most
So
famous
don't
cult
have to
leaders
do
of
much
the last
dialogue about
100
it.
years. Manson started his
No,
group in
both.
1967 in San Francisco
Can't
and
no
then
one say that
moved
they
to
didn't know.
Los Angeles. His followers wouldn't hold your typical religious rituals because they definitely preached
probably
the
really
60s
just
free
come to
love
terms.
lifestyle, but they did kill on behalf of Manson. Some say in an attempt to create copycat killings to get their friend out of jail, and some say these killings were actually due to the fact that Manson wanted to be a musician, and it is believed that Sharon Tate's house belonged to a music producer that wouldn't give him a record deal. Whatever the case, he and his cult will probably stand as one of the most known cults in the world. In our number 2 spot, we have the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church. This is a church that honestly screams the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Anyone? Such a good show. I bet the writers of the show got their inspiration from this cult. So, this church cult was run by a man named Warren Jeffs, and he had a number of wives within the church. It was a polygamous Mormon church. Rituals would include your regular church worship with the twist of do what I say and give yourself to me or you will be damned to hell. Women weren't allowed to cut their hair and were made to wear prairie dresses, and also, Warren decides who marries who. And, of course, he marries most of the women. Warren Jeffs was eventually sentenced to jail for a number of accounts, but apparently some still believe him to be a prophet. Coming up in our number 1 spot.
After last month's massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day, many businesses are wondering, what should we do with it?
Bacon and eggs, 25/7.
You're darn right.
This nigga said bacon and eggs 25/7. I heard what he said.
To work more.
We have whatever cult Angelina Jolie once spoke about. Okay, so there is a Hollywood cult that Angelina
Like
Jolie
fucking
was once
yuppies?
caught on camera speaking about to her friends in
What
1999.
don't
The
touch
video
these
surfaced
things? Like,
online in
why is that a
2006.
thing?
The name of the cult was never mentioned, but the details of one of the rituals that is performed is pretty terrifying. We can imagine that
What's
some
the fuck?
Hollywood cult, I'm sure there's a bunch, as she mentions that it's a sort of celeb initiation that is often misunderstood as a form of sadism and masochism. Apparently, Angelina talks about her experience and how during the ritual, the initiated people are tied up and tortured, and acts of inappropriate touching are performed, if you catch my drift. She then talks about how she got a tattoo after the ritual and how she had to kill a snake as a sacrifice. Anyways, I wish I knew what cult this was, but I have no idea, so we're going to continue to call it the cult that Angelina Jolie once spoke about.
Number 10, the Agori. The Agori is a religious cult that broke away from the Hindu religion in the 14th century. They believe everything is God, and they chase spiritual
Hey
liberation
homie,
with
that's
their
your
acts.
people.
Some of their more tame rituals involve drinking urine and eating human feces, or smothering human ashes on their faces, and those are the tame ones. Their most important ritual to them is called Shav Putra, and for it they need human corpses. That in itself is hard to find in the area, as nearly everyone is cremated. Those who aren't
Everyone is
cremated
cremated.
because the family can't afford it are sometimes dumped into the Ganges River. So,
You wanna
to
see
find
Gandhi in the
corpses,
river?
Agori monks fish them out of the river. Now, once they have a dead body, they meditate on it and then chop the head off as it holds the most energy. After that, some of the Agoris eat the flesh of the body, cannibalistically, unfortunately. Now, this all stems from the belief that they
You know
can't
you
please
was
God if they
watching.
don't do this
Stop
human
lying.
sacrifice. They even keep the skulls of the dead as a reminder of the impermanence of life. Quite Hamlet, if I do say so myself. At number 9, the
Hamlet
Vampire
is
Clan.
awesome.
So, in the 90s, a 16-year-old named Ron Farrell was also apparently a 500-year-old vampire. Identify as you want, man. But Farrell, or Vistago, his vampire alter ego, was a part of a vampire cult. This little clan made up
Oh,
of
he was
300
banging.
teens would engage in rituals where they would drink one another's blood.
That nigga was gang banging on blood for real, homie.
But is that the scariest thing they did? Also no. In 1996, the two boy vampires of the group thought vigilantes of themselves and decided to help out a friend. Farrell had an old friend from high school he went to in Florida, and she told him she was miserable living at home with her folks. And I think I know what you're thinking. Did they kidnap her? No. Much worse. The two vigilante vampiric teens beat both of her parents to death with a crowbar. Then Visago burned a letter V into the girl's father's body. When he was found out, he received a life sentence for the murders. Number 8, the Birdman cult. On Easter Island, one era of inhabitants was the Birdman cult era. The people of Easter Island, the Rapa Nui, came up with an interesting yearly ritual to determine who led them. The eventual leader would be seen as supreme ruler for a year and would be encouraged to take on a bird-like appearance, growing out their nails and shaving their head. But to get that position, their chosen champion would have to succeed in a very tough competition. These chosen champions would dive down tall, steep cliffs and swim to an inlet where they would have to grab an egg from a Sooty Tern or a Manutera and bring it back unbroken. So, swim all the way back and climb up a sheer cliff face, all with an unbroken egg. And that makes holding an egg in a spoon sound like a piece of cake, right?
I'm gonna light it back in 1 second.
Led to the leader they represented becoming ruler.
I hate what we
Obviously, many didn't make it all the way through the competition. Many died from falls they took, sharks, or the cutthroat edge of the competition. On to number 7, Freedomites, aka Sons of Freedom. In Saskatchewan, Canada, Downloader people had a small group within them called the Sons of Freedom. The Downloader people were a spiritual Christian group that originated from Russia, and the Sons of Freedom came out of them during a time of economic tensions. The Sons of Freedom stood for communal living, nudity, and anarchy. They were mainly known for their public demonstrations they performed in the nude. The demonstrations were to show their strong opposition to the materialistic tendencies of society, but even further than peaceful demonstrations. Completely against the typically pacifist ways of the Downloader people, they committed acts of terror in the name of their beliefs. They committed arson and bombing to homes, government buildings, churches, schools, and railroads. At number 4, the Church of Sacrifice. Back in 1912 in Lafayette, Louisiana, Clementine Barnabette was a high priestess of the Church of Sacrifice. At only 18, she led a cult with a belief system that riches and immortality could be gained through human sacrifice. She wasn't all talk either. She confessed to axing 17 people to death, including 2 families, because they refused to obey the messages from God. And apparently, she convinced the followers of her church to do the same gruesome killings. All in all, the Barnabettes entirely brutally killed 7 families, a number passing to 40 people.
Coming up in our number 10 spot, we have a game called Three Kings. This is a ritual game that is said to be something that you would play when wanting to connect with beings from another dimension, or perhaps even connect with your subconscious. Some have joked that it is actually a game that is a form of therapy and can help the practitioner understand themselves better. Basically, through setting the scene in a dark basement with 2 large mirrors, 3 chairs, a pack of candles, and an object from your childhood, you are supposed to be able to get in contact with a being. At around 3:30 a.m. in the morning, you are supposed to go to the scene with a burning candle and sit down on one of the chairs at 3:33 a.m. with your candle. You're supposed to look into the darkness, not the candle or the mirrors, and eventually you will be approached by a being, an entity, if you will. Look, whether you believe in this game or not, I personally think it could be deeply psychologically damaging if you play it. So just don't do it, okay? I feel like the gym teacher from Mean Girls. Just don't do it, okay? In our number 9 spot, we have Bloody Mary. This ritualistic game has been widely known due to pop culture and Hollywood movies. It's a ritual you perform in order to bear witness to a woman named Mary that is bloody, who is believed to be a vengeful witch spirit, not the Virgin Mary. You're supposed to hold a candle up to a mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times, and the witch is supposed to reveal herself. There are mixed experiences from people that have done this ritual. Some say they were disappointed, and others have expressed being terrified from encountering the spirit. Some have stated that people that play the game experience Bloody Mary's wrath and could possibly be strangled, cursed, or get their souls taken. What? Well, not sure if I believe this to be real, but heck, it's dark enough that you should probably stay away from it. In our number 8 spot, we have the Hooded Man. This is a weird ritual as it doesn't necessarily seem all that bad, but there are people that believe that it has the potential to be bad if the player does not return. So let me explain. So this is a ritual that you would play if you were someone interested in possibly traveling to another dimension. Before even doing the ritual, you are supposed to cleanse your space, or cleanse yourself. Then when it is night, you're supposed to go to a room with a phone, and you basically make a call for a cab. If you have succeeded, you're supposed to see a black cab pull up, and you're supposed to get into it. Lock the doors and fall asleep. This seems highly dangerous and risky, but okay, people that think this isn't that bad. If you wake up and it's 3:30 a.m., then you'll fall asleep again and find yourself in the back of a cab with a hooded man driving in the front seat. You're
We are ready to get started on this boutique hotel here in downtown Waco.
Holy smokes.
We will make it that absolute
This is gonna be a big project. This is gonna be a dramatic before and after.
You've got one night to sleep on it, and that's it.
That's it.
Let's
I will
go.
sign off, never look back. I will.
Supposed to look out the window and see another world. If you want to leave, you're supposed to whisper to the hooded man, "I have reached my destination now, and you shall be returned home." Some believe this game to be bad because if you get caught in the other world and don't try to leave, then you might not return. Honestly, I'd be more worried about getting into a cab of someone you don't know and falling asleep. Yikes, just don't play this game ever. In our number 7 spot, we have The Midnight Man. This is a game that has become quite known in the last while. However, everyone that plays this game advises to never ever play this game. Many people have reported hallucinations and permanent mental scars that are just not worth the risk. Apparently at midnight, you are supposed to summon the Midnight Man by calling out to him, and then you are supposed to run around your house, and you have to try to not get caught by him. At 3:33 a.m., it is said that if you were not caught, then you have won the game. Apparently, this was a game that was an old pagan ritual that was used to punish anyone that disobeyed the religion. Yeah, as psychological torture, for sure. Coming up in our number 6 spot, we have Daruma Sun. This is a bath ritual that was created in Japan, and it honestly feels like a story my brother would make up because the things you have to do will possibly make you laugh. It made me laugh, but I laugh easily. This is a ritual that people do so that they can have the lovely experience of a ghost chasing them around all day long. And if they don't manage to capture the ghost, because yes, you are supposed to capture her, then she will follow you into your dreams. Yikes. Apparently you summon her while in the tub, while washing your hair. You're supposed to say, "Daruma-san fell down," over and over. Then she's supposed to appear and show you that she fell onto the bathtub where she was impaled through the eye. The next day she's supposed to chase you everywhere, and you are supposed to capture her by looking over your right shoulder, and you're supposed to yell "Kita" and do a karate chop movement with your hand. No, I'm not making this up. Just stay away from this ritual. It's a crazy one. In our number 5 spot, we have One Man Hide and Seek. This is another Japanese game that you may want to play if you're looking for a reason to crawl under your covers and never leave the comfort of your bed again. This game is called Hitori Kakurembo, and when playing this game, you are playing hide and seek with a possessed doll. Yeah, how is this real? I'm terrified. Basically, you're supposed to de-stuff a doll and replace its insides with rice, along with a piece of your fingernail. Sew the doll's opening with a red thread and wrap the remaining thread around the doll. You're then supposed to give the doll a name and place it in the bathtub with some water. Then you're advised to quickly go to your hiding place and turn off the lights. Apparently, you're then supposed to take a giant sip of salt water and, without swallowing it, go and look for the doll.
Anything for that
It's
bread.
not supposed to be in the tub
You know,
anymore.
that goes back to what I was
God, I
just
can see
telling
why
my
this game
mother,
may be
like,
tempting
you know,
to play,
I'll
but
play the
also
game for the money and all that, but
fine. In our number 4 spot, we
I'll
have
get-
the closet game.
like I'm getting
This
trouble,
one
you
shouldn't
get what
be
I'm
so
saying?
hard to convince you
Yeah.
to never play because this
But
one
I'm getting
requires you
trouble
to
if I do that shit,
summon
like,
a demon. Yeah,
and
a
that's what I'm
demon.
telling you, I'm not,
Why, oh why was this game
not
invented?
just the word that
Holy.
it's not about.
Basically, there is no objective but to feel the most amount of fear, probably for the adrenaline junkies of the world. Apparently, you're supposed to go into a pitch black closet, hold up an unlit match, and say, "Show me the light or leave me in darkness." Apparently, when you hear a whisper, you have to immediately light your match or the demon will grab you and pull you into eternal darkness. Ah, lovely. If you successfully light your match and get out of the closet, then you won. But just know that you can never look inside your closet ever again because it will forever be haunted by...
I never thought.
In our number 3 spot, we have the Elevator to Another World ritual game. This is a game that you would play if you want to have the experience of going to another world. Sounds pretty PG, but with playing games like this, you never know what could happen and you should be careful. All you have to do is find a building with at least 10 floors and make sure to be riding alone. Then press this combo. 4,
get rid of it
2, 6,
for
2,
I mean,
10,
detach
5.
from me. A lot of
On
people
the
just
fifth
can't do
floor,
that
a
shit. Once
woman
you see
will
that, you
enter.
really
Do
can,
not
like,
look at her.
you can really
Then the
use that shit.
elevator will ascend to
You know,
the
they
10th
should
floor, where
supposed
you
to
can
be
get out
utilized.
and
There's,
observe a new
there's a lot of
world.
good shit
When you want to go home,
like,
you hop in the elevator
I'm use
and press the same
prime
combo.
example.
It
Everyone
sounds
talking
so
about that
cool,
shit that
but
they're scared of
apparently people
AI.
have had some crazy
AI is
experiences
going
from
to
it,
take
so
over
maybe
humanity.
proceed
AI can
with
only take over
caution.
humanity
In
if
our number
you
2
let it.
spot, we have the dry bones
In the
of
day, a
demon.
nigga made that.
Another game to summon a demon. There is no reason
Our
for this.
memory into it.
Why people?
Once
This
again,
game
Nobody
apparently
remembers.
is
Like,
done with
I
the
can,
objective
I
to win a
can
prize. I don't know
personally
what prize.
vouch.
It will be
I
different
am
for every person,
dumber
but it's supposed to
than
be
I
something
was
good. You're supposed to
10 years
have
ago.
a candle
Spell
and
check
some matches.
has fucking
Go
fixed
into
my
your
word
room
for
at
me and everything
12:01
I needed to
a.m.
say
on
in
a
the
night when
text.
you're completely
In the
alone.
last, how
You're
many
supposed
years
to
have I
stare
been
at
used
your
to
reflection
fucking
in the
writing
mirror and
messages?
listen for
You
any
know what I'm
whistles
saying?
or whispers.
I haven't had
If
to
you
sit
hear
down
something,
and write a
leave your
letter,
house right away, as that
really,
means the demon's there.
unless I
If
wanted
it's
to,
silent,
like
you
at
just
pleasure,
think about
which
your
I
prize.
start doing.
You're then
It's like,
supposed to light the
damn,
candle with
I
the
can't
match.
fucking
Don't
spell.
blow
Why
the
does
match
this feel
yourself.
weird? I
Wait for it
really
to burn
feel
out on its
dumber
own.
when it comes to
Then
spelling.
lie down on
I
the
can
floor
personally
and
vouch
say,
for that.
I am aware of your presence
And
and I welcome you into
I
my
don't know,
home.
man.
Come now. After
Then you
that,
end up
go to the
wasting your
largest
time
room
on
in your
here
house
with
and
this
wait
stupid
for a
shit
moaning
that you end
noise.
up getting
If you
sucked
hear it,
into because
the
you're like,
hide
what
and
the
seek
fuck is
game
this?
has started.
Right?
If you
Yeah,
manage
that's
to
a
hide
Dumb,
from the
dumb
demon
shit
until
wasting
3
my
a.m.,
time that I'm
then
never gonna
you
get back.
win. You must say, thank
And
you
then
for
you got
playing,
some
but
motherfuckers
please
playing
leave now.
keeping
You
up
are
with
no
the
longer
damn Joneses.
welcome to the demon.
You
The
know, it's
demon
like,
will leave once you hear a groan. You can expect your prize the next day
Oh,
on
you're
your
dumb.
doorstep. If you don't
really
win,
dumb.
the consequences could be
really
dire.
dumb.
I couldn't find out any other testimonials, so maybe this game
got
is
other
just
shit
not
to do.
worth the risk. In our number 1 spot, we have the Ouija board. I am personally not a fan of this game, as I personally had a very traumatic experience with it when I was only 11, and it took many years of therapy to work through the psychological impact that it had. I'm not joking. This is the number 1 game that I would advise that you do not play, but of course that's my opinion and bias, so do whatever you like, or you've been warned. This is a board game that was invented in
My name's
1890.
Legend. Yo, what's going on, brother, man? What's
It was
going on?
invented as a tool for
Yeah, I'm a
mediums
true
and
Final
everyday
Fantasy
people to
head.
connect with the dead and pass along
I was
messages.
thinking about
Over
doing the
100+ years, it has become
like
more known
a
due to
Final
all the
Fantasy
movies,
run
but it
starting
was a game
from
that actually grew to
probably from number
popularity
4. I
through
like
word
I
of
like
mouth.
Final
Of course,
Fantasy 4
Catholic
the
and
best,
Christian religious
but
groups
I want to
everywhere
do like a
advise
Nintendo
against
run
it
period.
because
You
it is
know,
not
I was gonna do that,
particularly
a Zelda run
positive
too.
tool. It's a game that opens a portal to the
Pokemon
dead,
run.
and you never know who you're communicating with. It could be good spirits, and it could be bad. Some
Thinking
believe
about
that the
that.
bad spirits will haunt the player
Taking it
if
back,
they
going
are
old like the
unlikely to
original.
channel them, and will drive them to insanity. Regardless of whether that is true or not, it could be psychologically damaging to anyone that remotely believes in good or evil, heaven and hell, or any kind of afterlife.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Ordo Templi
Oh,
Orientis.
what's
The
that one
Ordo
too?
Templi
Almost
Orientis
snuck
is a
up on.
controversial esoteric organization that was founded in the early 20th century by Karl Kellner and Theodor Reuss in Germany. Originally meant to be modeled after and associated with European Freemasonry, under the leadership of famous occultist Aleister Crowley, the group had a change in philosophy to be more aligned with Crowley's principles of Thelema. The cult is known for its secretive nature and controversial practices, including the use of ritualistic magic and sexual practices as a means of spiritual advancement. The organization has a hierarchical structure and emphasizes the importance of individualism and personal freedom. Of course, like with most cults, there are some controversial practices, but despite this controversy, the group has attracted a following among those interested in occultism and alternative spirituality. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Order of the Black Sun. The Order of the Black Sun is a secretive and controversial cult that has been the subject of much speculation and debate in recent years. Founded in the early 20th century, the group is believed to be based in Europe and has been linked to a number of bizarre and disturbing practices, including human sacrifice, occult rituals, and the worship of ancient deities. Members of the cult are said to be highly secretive and tightly knit, with their activities shrouded in mystery and hidden from public view. Many have claimed that the Order of the Black Sun is involved in a wide range of illegal and nefarious activities that include high-level crimes, as well as the manipulation of political and financial systems for their own gain. Many people claim that this group was founded by Heinrich Himmler and that its members included many high-ranking SS officers. People also have suggested that this cult attempted to use demon summoning as a way to help them win World War II. Even the demons were like, No, absolutely not. Despite numerous investigations into the group, very little concrete information is known about the Order of the Black Sun, and many questions remain unanswered about their true motives and activities. However, what is certain is that this enigmatic cult continues to captivate and intrigue people around the world, with many eager to uncover the truth about this very shadowy organization. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was a notorious secret society that existed in Britain during the 18th century. It was an extensive club that included some of the wealthiest and most influential people of the time, including politicians, aristocrats, and members of the royal family. The club was known for its very decadent parties, which were said to involve heavy drinking and gambling and all of the things people think these elite secretive parties hold. However, there were also rumors of more sinister activities, such as satanic rituals and human sacrifice. The Hellfire Club was shrouded in secrecy, and its members went to great lengths to keep their activities hidden from the public. However, their reputation as a group of debauched and immoral individuals eventually caught up with them, and they became the subject of scandalous rumors and gossip. Today, the legacy of the Hellfire Club lives on in pop culture, with many books, movies, TV shows featuring references to the group and their supposed activities. Despite these references, though, the true nature of the club's activities remain a mystery to this day. We're just left to speculate and come up with conspiracy theories. Drop your best one down below. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Order of the Nine Angels. This culty cult is a controversial and secretive organization that has been associated with the occult, Satanism, as well as having ties to some pretty controversial, hateful, and horrible beliefs. The group's origins are murky, but it is believed to have been founded in the United Kingdom in the 1970s. The ONA claims to be based on the principles of traditional Satanism and advocates for a return to pre-Christian pagan society. The teachings of the group are said to be highly esoteric and involve a very complex system of rituals, beliefs, and practices, which sounds really cool and mysterious until
Hey, yo, Legend, did you ever play Final Fantasy Chronicles? I think I might start with that one. I might do a run of Final Fantasy spin-offs.
Of summoning demons, and apparently this group has even been able to be linked to horrifying crimes, which include killing.
I think we're in an Airheads commercial. Want to go back?
Because of the nature of the controversy surrounding this group, its teachings have been banned in several countries, but despite these bans, the group continues to operate in secret, with its members communicating online and in private meetings. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was a mystical and magical organization that emerged in the late 19th century in England. It was founded by 3 prominent figures, William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman. All 3 of these guys were fascinated by the esoteric teachings of ancient civilizations and sought to create a system that combined spiritual and mystical practices. The order drew upon various mystical and occult traditions, including Kabbalah, alchemy, astrology, and tarot, in order to create a comprehensive system of magical practices. Its teaching emphasized personal development, spiritual evolution, and the attainment of spiritual knowledge and enlightenment. The order's rituals and teachings were highly secretive and were only accessible to members who had undergone a rigorous initiation process. Its members included prominent figures such as Aleister Crowley, of course, W.B. Yeats, and Arthur Edward Waite, who went on to make significant contributions to the fields of mysticism and occultism. Despite the relatively short existence of this group, the order has had a profound impact on modern Western esotericism and continues to inspire spiritual seekers and magicians to this day. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Kabiri Mysteries. The Kabiri Mysteries refer to a set of ancient Greek religious practices and rituals associated with the Kabiri deities, a group of enigmatic gods worshipped in various regions of Greece, particularly on the island of Samothrace. The mysteries involved secretive initiation ceremonies that were performed exclusively by the initiated members of the cult and were believed to impart special knowledge and spiritual power to the participants. It's one of the most secretive religious groups in history, and the exact nature of the group remains the subject of intense debate among scholars because there is so little information to go on. It is generally believed that the cult was closely connected to the cults of Demeter and Persephone, and that the initiation rites involved elements of mysticism, fertility rites, and underworld symbolism. This mystery group exerted a significant influence on the development of Greek religion and culture, and were celebrated by various communities throughout the Hellenistic world. Despite the mystery that shrouds them, the Kabiri Mysteries continues to fascinate scholars and enthusiasts alike, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the ancient religious practices of Greece. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan is a religious organization founded in 1966 by Anton LaVey. Despite its name, the Church of Satan does not worship Satan as a deity, but rather advocates for individualism, self-indulgence, and rational thinking. LaVey created the Church of Satan as a reaction to what he saw as the hypocrisy of mainstream religion and the repressive nature of society at the time. The Church of Satan's philosophy is centered around the concept that Satan is a symbol of rebellion and individual freedom. Members believe in indulging in their desires and pursuing their own happiness as long as it doesn't harm others. The church also promotes the idea of magic as a tool for self-improvement and self-realization. Heard that's where the demon summoning comes in. Demons aren't all bad, some can be helpful, you just need to know what you're doing. Of course, with a name like the Church of Satan, you're going to face some controversy, and this group certainly has received its fair share of criticism over the years, with many accusing it of promoting evil and immorality. The organization maintains that it is a legitimate religion with a unique philosophy and worldview. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Temple of Set. The Temple of Set is a religious organization that was founded in 1975 by Michael Aquino, a former member of the Church of Satan. Wow, what a crazy connection. The Temple of Set is based on the philosophy of Setianism, and the group mainly focuses on the worship of Set, an ancient Egyptian deity associated with chaos, strength, and individuality. The Temple of Set is unique among religious organizations in that it places a strong emphasis on individualism and self-realization. It also incorporates elements of ancient Egyptian religion, as well as ideas from other Western esoteric traditions. Members of the Temple of Set are encouraged to pursue knowledge and self-discovery through practices such as meditation, ritual magic, and intellectual inquiry. The organization is very secretive and very exclusive, with membership only available through invitation. While believing in and worshiping the deity, those who belong to this group also believe in the existence of demons and other supernatural entities. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Manson family, started by the horrible Charles Manson. This story starts off when Manson was released from prison in 1967, where he then moved to San Francisco, where he gained a small following that would eventually go on to be the cult known as the Family. This charismatic yet very unstable ex-convict attracted a group of young and vulnerable followers who believed he was a messianic figure with profound insights into society and the future of humanity. And not only this, but they also believed that he had supernatural powers as well. The group eventually moved to an abandoned ranch outside of Los Angeles, and it was here that Manson continued to brainwash his followers and manipulate them with his own religious philosophies. Manson's followers carried out these brutal killings under his instructions, which he claimed were a part of a twisted plan to incite a race war he called Helter Skelter. In the end, Manson and several of his followers were eventually arrested and charged for the crimes, with a trial that was highly publicized. Manson's bizarre behavior and manipulative tactics in court further solidified his reputation as a deranged cult leader, and the story of this cult has had a lasting impact on American culture and continues to fascinate and absolutely horrify people to this day. Finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar, also known as the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, was a medieval Christian military order that was founded in the 12th century to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land during the Crusades. The order became known for their bravery and skill in battle, and they quickly gained wealth and power throughout Europe. The Knights Templar became one of the most influential and respected organizations of their time, with members including knights, monks, and priests who took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They were known for their distinctive white mantles with a red cross and their motto, "Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to
That whole
your
not
name."
attacking and not using magic
However,
thing
the power of
really
the cult
hits.
eventually became a threat to some European European monarchs and the church, which many claim led to their downfall. The Knights Templar were disbanded in the early 14th century, especially since they were being accused of heresy and devil worship by the Catholic Church. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Agape Lodge. I've spoken about Jack Parsons before, but I had absolutely no idea that the American rocket scientist was also involved in occult practices. In the early 1940s, Parsons founded a cult-like group called the Agape Lodge, which was affiliated with Aleister Crowley's religious movement, Dilemma. The lodge was based in Pasadena,
some people to
California,
think that this shit is just like
ceremonial magic that
new,
aimed to
like
invoke spiritual
the
entities
surprise in
and to
people's
achieve
voices.
personal transformation.
That's what kills me.
Apparently, these entities included them trying to raise the Antichrist. In 1945, L. Ron Hubbard, who would later go on to found the Church of Scientology, joined the Agape Lodge and became closely involved with Parsons. The two men engaged in a series of magical rituals and experiments, including an attempt to create a homunculus, sorry if I said that wrong, a miniature human-like creature through alchemy. The relationship became strained when Hubbard convinced Parsons to invest a large sum of money into a business venture, which he then used to leave the country with Parsons' wife. I mean, fair enough. I think that would strain any relationship. Even the demons were like, damn, that was absolutely savage. The Agape Lodge disbanded shortly thereafter, of course, but the influence of Parsons and his esoteric practices continued to be felt in the world of occultism and popular culture.
Oh, I'm gonna do the Zelda stream next. Shit's gonna be fine.
Also known as Our Lady of Ender Coven, this was a small satanic group founded by Herbert Arthur Sloan in the 1940s. The group was based in Los Angeles and practiced a form of Luciferianism, which emphasized the worship of Satan as a liberating force. The name Ophite refers to the ancient Gnostic sect known as the Ophites, who worshipped a serpent or dragon as a symbol of divine wisdom. The group's beliefs were heavily influenced by the writings of Aleister Crowley, as well as the teachings of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which we spoke about last time, and other occult groups as well. The Ophite cultist Sathanas was known for its use of ritual magic and its promotion of sexual liberation and exploration. The group's rituals involved the invocation of demonic entities and the use of symbols, music, and dance. While the group was relatively small and short-lived, it had a significant impact on the development of modern satanic and occult movements, and its influence can still be felt in these circles today. In our number 8 spot today, we have Michelle Remembers. You might remember this one. Michelle Remembers is a controversial book that was written by Michelle Smith and her psychiatrist Lawrence Pastor, which was published in 1980. The book details Smith's alleged recovery of repressed memories of ritual harm at the hands of a satanic cult. According to the book, Smith claimed to have been harmed by members of the cult who allegedly engaged in a range of horrific acts, including killings, consuming flesh, and the use of demonic entities. The book's claims sparked widespread public concern and fear about the existence of satanic cults in the United States. The book's veracity has been heavily criticized and debunked by numerous experts and scholars who argue that Smith's memories were likely the result of suggestive therapy techniques employed by Pastor rather than actual experiences of these things. This criticism is also only fueled by the fact that Michelle and her psychiatrist Lawrence went on to divorce their respective spouses, marry each other, and then went on speaking tours. At the end of the day, however, I wasn't there, so who am I to say what happened for sure? Despite the controversy surrounding Michelle Remembers, the book has had a significant impact on popular culture and the public's perception of satanic cults. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Illuminati. You probably have heard of the Illuminati before, but did you know where it really all started? The Illuminati is a secret society that is believed to have originated in Bavaria, Germany in the 18th century, and they have been accused of engaging in satanic practices. It is said to have been founded by Adam Weishaupt, a professor of law at the University of Ingolstadt. The goals of the Illuminati are often shrouded in mystery and
Shit, he's speaking right now, man. The word
said to have aimed to promote rationalism and free thought, as well as to oppose the influence of the Catholic Church. Of course, things change over time, and that includes the beliefs surrounding this mysterious organization. In today's day and age, for those who claim the group still exists, the Illuminati has become the subject of numerous conspiracy theories that suggest they are involved in controlling world events and governments while still maintaining that satanic image. Despite the controversy and secrecy surrounding the Illuminati, its influence and impact on history remains remains a subject of interest and speculation for many people. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Ninth Circle. The Ninth Circle is a controversial and secretive group that is alleged to engage in satanic rituals.
Again, with feeling. Oh yeah!
He just spoke some heat. I ain't gonna hold you. Everything he just said was pure heat.
And horrifying things, including things like deadly sacrifices.
Puppet is each time the ceremony of death. His eyes have long since turned to black. Of course, the cavalry's eyes would see our friends as nothing more than a traitor to the cause. That ass, man. The cavalry's eyes would see our friends nothing more than a traitor to the cause. Motherfuckers that's trying to help you, you always gonna be pushing them away, and the ones that's really damning you, the ones that everyone's falling for.
In its existence and the supposed atrocities it commits. The Ninth Circle cult remains a subject of controversy and speculation, with some viewing it as a legitimate threat to public safety, while others see it as just a baseless conspiracy theory. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Decadent Movement. The Decadent Movement was less of a cult and was more of a cultural and artistic movement that emerged in Europe in the late 19th century. It was characterized by a rejection of conventional morality and a celebration of excess, luxury, and, well, decadence. Decadent artists and writers sought to break free from the restrictions of traditional values and explore more taboo subjects such as sex, death, and the occult. They were known to celebrate Satan more in an artistic way rather than a religious way. The movement was influenced by a variety of factors, including the decline of aristocratic society, the rise of industrialization, and the growing influence of scientific rationalism. Decadent artists often depicted a world of boredom, decay, and degeneration, and their works were characterized by ornate and stylized language, vivid imagery, and a preoccupation with the senses. Some of the most famous figures associated with the decadent movement include writers like Oscar Wilde and Charles Baudelaire, the latter being the person who wrote The Flowers of Evil and Litanies to Satan. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Brotherhood of the Golden Arrow. The Brotherhood of the Golden Arrow was a mystical and occult society founded by Maria de Neglauska in Paris in the early 20th century. Neglauska was a Russian occultist and author who claimed to have received divine revelations and messages from a group of advanced beings called the Unknown Superiors. The Brotherhood was based on the principles of the third term of the Trinity, which proposed a union of the masculine and feminine principles through the agency of a third neutral principle, and they also worshipped Lucifer, the serpent. The group practiced a form of sexual mysticism that they believed would lead to the attainment of higher consciousness and spiritual enlightenment. Members of the Brotherhood were known as initiates and participated in rituals that involved the use of symbols, music, dance, and sexual practices. The group was highly secretive and attracted a small but devoted following of intellectuals, artists, and writers. In our number 3 spot today, we have Procter & Gamble. Okay, not a cult, but a huge company. There has long been urban legends surrounding this company that suggest it is related to Satanism. I will say these are just rumors and conspiracies, and many people have done the work to try and debunk them, but when I came across this wild theory, I just had to share it with you. The idea that the former CEO of Procter & Gamble, John Smale, was involved in Satanism is a well-known conspiracy theory that has been circulating for decades, and the theory is based on the company's logo, which allegedly includes a depiction of Satan or the devil. People claim that John went on national television and shared how happy he was that the United States was so open-minded because now he could admit that the company had donated large sums of their profits to satanic cults. While no one has been able to produce a tape of him saying this, I just think this absolutely wild rumor was one worth sharing. I mean, who really knows? The conspiracy theory about Smale's supposed involvement in Satanism is believed to have originated from a rival company, Amway, which spread false rumors about Procter & Gamble in an attempt to damage its reputation. Despite being debunked numerous times, the rumor has persisted and continues to be spread by conspiracy theorists and anti-occult groups. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Process Church of the Final Judgment. This church was a religious cult that emerged in the 1960s and 1970s. The group was founded in the United Kingdom by Mary Ann McLean and Robert de Grimston, and it combined elements of Christianity, Satanism, and the occult. The group believed in a dualistic worldview in which Satan and Christ were seen as complementary forces. The Process Church also had a strong focus on apocalyptic themes and believed that the end of the world was imminent. The group's rituals were often performed in black robes and involved chanting, dancing, and other forms of ecstatic practices. Despite its controversial beliefs, the group gained a following in the United States and attracted several high-profile celebrities. However, the group's controversial beliefs and practices eventually led to its decline, and it disbanded in the 1970s. Today, the legacy of the Process Church continues to fascinate and intrigue those interested in the history of religious cults. Finally, in our number one spot today, we have Catherine Monvosian. During the reign of Louis XIV, poison was one of those things that you really just had to worry about. It was on the rise as an easy and sneaky way to take people out and to change the course of inheritance and influence. Because of the worries surrounding possible poisonings and stories of people close to the king doing some shady stuff, investigations began. It was soon found out that the king's chief mistress, the Marquis de Montespan, was said to be quite the client of Catherine. Catherine was a Parisian salesperson who sold powders and potions that were meant to catch the attention for the king. You know, love potion stuff. And among these love potion stories were also the stories of horrifying rituals and rites in order to get these alleged powers. These stories, of course, terrified the king, and this led for him to order Catherine to be burned at the stake. And not only this, but hundreds of others were implicated as well. Some passed from the conditions they were being held under, others were executed, and some saw punishments that spared their lives, but their reputations were forever tarnished. For the chief mistress, however, well, although she was connected to this entire ordeal, she was the mother of several of the king's children, and because of this close connection to the king, she wasn't arrested or tried. Instead, though, she was retired and sent to a convent to live the rest of her life.
Number 10, Will Carroll.
What, the next one,
The
Will
drummer of the band Death Angel,
next one,
caught
Will?
COVID-19 at the end of his band's European tour. It was a long, hard battle, and thankfully, Carroll was able to come back from it. But the battle along the way may have included an encounter with Satan himself. The virus put him in a critical state, which involved Carroll lying unconscious in his hospital bed for 12 days straight. In an interview with San Francisco Chronicle, though, Will revealed that those 12 days were spent in a peaceful dream state. In his dreams, or I would call them nightmares, the devil would punish him repeatedly for the sin of sloth. The devil would apparently turn him into a bulbous-like creature and make him puke blood until his heart gave out. These were the dreams he was having over and over again. Since recovering from the disease, needless to say, Carroll has changed his lifestyle habits. For more reason than this one, it appears recovering from this awful virus we all hate definitely felt like returning from hell. Maybe the virus is from there too. Wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
At number 9, we have Anna Haining Bates. Born in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia back in August of 1846, Anna was just like every other child until she started a bit of a growth spurt. A growth spurt that never ended. By age 5, she was already 4 feet 8 inches. That's 142 centimeters, and weighed over 100 pounds. That's over 45 kilograms. Finally, at age 22, she came in at 7 feet 6 inches. That's 229 centimeters and weighed 350 pounds, which is 159 kilograms. Bates went into show business around the age of 16 and would often be shown opposite to a little person to show the incredible difference in size. But being that tall has its disadvantages. In July of 1865, Anna almost burned to death during a fire at the famous P.T. Barnum Museum. The stairs were engulfed in flames and she was too tall to jump out the window. Luckily for her, she was saved by other museum employees who broke through walls to escort her out and was then assisted with a crane. That's crazy. It's hard enough sometimes getting emergency crews to the scene. I'm guessing they don't have the same kind of Toronto traffic as we do nowadays. Anna then later went on to marry another giant by the name of Martin Van Buren, aka the Kentucky Giant, who was 7 feet 3 inches tall. She later got pregnant with 2 children, but they both tragically died at birth. Anna herself later died in 1888 at the age of 41.
Number 8, Rose La Tulipe. It appears that the devil and the violin kind of go hand in hand. The story of Rose La Tulipe is a famous French-Canadian story and one of my absolute favorites. The woman who shared this story with me swears it was true, and I can't help but believe it either. Rose begged her father to host a dance on the eve of Lent, and he agreed, but with one condition: that at midnight the dancing had to stop. Dancing wasn't allowed during Lent, so if they continued, they would be sinning. Rose agreed, and everyone came to join on the night, and Rose danced with anyone who would, even with other men, though she was engaged. Then at 11 p.m., a knock came at the door, and the priest opened it to reveal a dazzlingly handsome stranger, and Rose fell hard. The priest welcomed him and requested that he take off his hat, shoes, and jacket, all of which the man refused, saying he wasn't staying long. He immediately swept Rose in a dance and asked no one else for the remainder of the evening. As soon as midnight hit, the dancing stopped, but the man whispered in her ear, "Just one last dance, my Rose." With struggles she resisted, but suddenly her feet, bewitched it seemed, began dancing without her. The man then kissed her, and the spark from their kiss
got me there, though. I'm not gonna hold you. I forgot I had salvation.
Mumbling around the ashes, now mysteriously an old woman, the devil having taken part of her soul with him. I know. That sounds like a legend, but like, thanks for indulging me, because I really love that story and I want an opportunity to tell it, so here it is. Other versions say that she actually got taken back to hell with him, and another that her mother came and saved her. A whole bunch of stuff, but I think that one's my favorite. Okay, number 7, Richard Cable. Richard Cable might as well have been the devil himself. A squire at Brooke Manor in Devon, England in the 1600s, he was known as a monstrously cruel man. He abused his wife, and one night she escaped him with him hot on her heels. He killed her and her faithful dog, but little did the man know that that dog would haunt him for the rest of his days, and there would be many. At least that's what Cable thought. Cable had made a deal with the devil to live forever, but mysteriously, Cable passed away in 1677. But it appears the devil did give him everlasting life, as a spirit walking the moors at night, forever being chased by a herd of hounds. The locals even put iron bars around his tomb because there were so many sightings of him wandering around the moors. Instead, now, a red glow occasionally emits from his resting place, and the howls of demons are said to gather, waiting to claim his soul for their master. Number 6, Saint Dunstan. Saint Dunstan was a saint who lived in 900s, and for some reason the devil loved to visit him. He was a talented metalsmith, and one day an old man requested that he make a chalice for him. Dunstan agreed, but when he looked back up the old man, he had shifted into a woman, and then very suddenly, a boy. Immediately, he knew it was the devil, but fearing his wrath, concealed his distress and crafted the chalice. Suddenly, though, he put his blacksmith tongs in the fire, and quick as he could, he thrust the tongs onto Satan's nose and cast him from the cell. That wouldn't be the last time he saw the devil, though. Dunstan would face him once again and attack the devil by...
If you are a current or former African American Deputy U.S. Marshal, Detention Enforcement Officer, or former applicant for a Deputy U.S. Marshal position from January 23, 1994 to November 27, 2023, you could receive benefits from a class action settlement. Click here or call 1-833-616-0397.
Everyone with Medicare, pay attention to this message. Are you tired of the increased cost of living? Are you uncomfortable with everyday items getting more and more expensive? What if I told you that there are additional benefits and additional savings available that can help make
hammering into his hoof, and only agreed to remove it if the devil agreed never to cross a threshold where a horseshoe hung. And that's why today horseshoes are considered good luck, so take a lesson from that. Number 5, A Boy Named Scott. An article written by Richard J. Bonifant recounts several near-death experiences in order to try and see similarities. Some usually describe a light or a tunnel, but after a little boy named Scott got into an accident, he may have met something much darker. On June 10th, 1995, Scott and his family were enjoying getting ice cream from the ice cream truck, as you do, but Scott was so excited he ran out from behind the truck and he got hit by another motorist. He was almost declared dead, but 8 hours later, thankfully, he awoke in intensive care. The The weirdest part was that he described in perfect detail what had happened to him as if he was watching from across the street. He knew every single detail. It was really freaky. He even recalled trying to give his dad a hug, but passing right through him. The scariest thing, though, was who he ended up meeting. He suddenly faced a dark vortex and felt himself being drawn into it by the haunting, putrid image of the devil. Scott said he was made of rotting flesh, and he tried to grab Scott, but he was whisked away into a tunnel of light. So it was kind of like the devil's trying to steal him from God. I'm glad things ended well for the little boy, getting to be with his family again, but still, not something anyone wants to see in the afterlife. Number 4, Dr. Paul Thigpen.
All of a sudden, I felt as if the darkness had filled my whole body, and that there was maybe a little part of it that was still me.
That was a clip of an interview with Dr. Paul Thigpen, who, despite being raised under a Christian household, became an atheist before he was even 12 years old. That is until one day he was hanging with his friends when he was around 17 by the water in the front seat of a car. All 3 of them were squished in, and a palpable darkness began pressing into the top of his head, all the way to the bottom of his toes. He said it took over the majority of his body, and though he'd become an atheist, he didn't drink or do drugs, so we know this isn't a psychedelic experience, but his body suddenly felt like a kind of superhuman strength taking over him. A voice in his head whispered, "I'm throwing you into the water." To this day, Dr. Paul can't swim, and his body started moving across his friend's seat to leave the car. He knew he was going to die. Then he heard another voice that said, "Focus on the cross." He suddenly remembered the cross his girlfriend gave him, so he grabbed it, and meanwhile his friends were like freaking out. After holding the cross for a while, he said the darkness subsided, and when he told his friend what had happened, he said, "That's strange. The same thing happened to my girlfriend." He sought counsel from another friend who without a doubt said that he'd been visited by the devil. Later he discovered that his girlfriend's friend was a witch, and that kind of pointed all the arrows in that direction, so who knows? Was it a demon or in fact the devil? Either way, something changed his mind. Watch the rest of the interview and decide for yourself. Number 3, the man with the glowing eyes. Reddit user Dabby_U_69 had an experience as a kid that I don't think anyone could be the same after. They grew up in a pagan household, which apparently meant you saw a lot of weird stuff. But one day, on a Tuesday in the afternoon, she was playing with the daughter of a family friend who they called Jay, just outside as you do. So they're just playing, and then all of a sudden, Jay just stops dead in her tracks and points behind her. She froze and then turned around slowly to see, and I quote, "a tall shadow man about 6-7 feet tall in a trench coat and hat." The scariest thing about him was his eyes. Oh God, his eyes. Huge, red, and glowing circles, but its actual eyes were small, bloodshot, and his pupils were tiny. The man reportedly tried to strangle them, but they bolted too quick for the house. Once they told their moms, they in turn freaked out because apparently at the same time the man appeared, the TV had turned long static. They brought in a psychic who said, "My love, the devil is here and he wants to hurt you. He was sent by someone, but we don't know who." The woman then gave a crystal bottle filled with sage and lavender along with something else to ward him off, and apparently the bottle is running out. So I hope she's okay. Number 2, Father Gabriel Amorth.
And it being
Father Gabriel Amorth was the official exorcist.
what's going on, the Juggernaut? Much appreciated for you stopping by. Make sure to drop a follow and a subscription if you're fucks with me. We got top 10 going on all the time. Always gonna have some type of conspiracy going on, something SCP. We're gonna talk about something ghosts, dreams, goblins. Racist Uncle Tom, it don't matter everything. We're talking about everything, brother man.
But then, the man was seething with anger and drool dripped from his mouth as he stared down the father. He tried to attack him, but the exorcist held him back with prayers, demanding the demon reveal its name. He called out, "Unclean spirit, whoever you are, and all your companions who possess this servant of God, I command you, tell me your name, the day and the hour of your damnation." The man snarled, and what came out
Until next time, everyone, I'm finna shut him down.
the man said,
I'm gonna holler at y'all. I'll probably jump back on tonight. I'm gonna shoot out the notifications though.